For many years, Jonah Hill was one of the most recognizable faces in comedy. He was the guy audiences felt they already knew because he looked like someone from real life. A little overweight, a little awkward, and a little too honest for his own good. That made him perfect for one of Hollywood's favorite shortcuts. He was the clumsy friend who tripped, said something strange, and made everyone else on screen look cooler by comparison. And for a while, it worked. Jonah's face was everywhere. Movie posters, late-night couches, magazine covers. The roles kept coming, and the laughs followed. But there was always a catch. People laughed at him, but they didn't respect him. They loved the joke, but not the person behind it. And with each new role, the gap between fame and respect grew wider. Jonah became known as the messy best friend, the loudmouth sidekick, the insecure guy who never had it together. After a few years, he began to feel trapped. So he made a decision that many young stars are too scared to make. He turned down the easy parts. He lost weight. He chased dramatic roles that would force people to see him as more than a punchline. But even then, the conversation never changed.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
I cut my hair is what you're talking about.
You cut your hair,
right?
and it just makes you look like you dropped 30 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
When he gained weight, strangers mocked him. When he lost weight, they said he wasn't funny anymore. No matter how good his performances were, the questions circled back to the same tired subject. Jonah couldn't escape it. His body had become public property. There's one interview clip that shows this perfectly. An interviewer asks him if he's still the fat guy when he walks into a party. Jonah pauses, looks at the room, and then fires back with a simple response. Do you have any other questions that are smart? The air shifts. He had said out loud what he had felt for years, that it hurt, and he deserved better, but he could never win. If he laughed along, he was a good sport. If he pushed back, he was too sensitive. That trap became the rhythm of his public life, and eventually, it wore him down. Jonah Hill didn't enter Hollywood wanting to be a clown. From a young age, he loved movies. He admired directors like Martin Scorsese. He wanted to tell stories that mattered. His first real break came in 2004 with a small but funny role in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That led to Knocked Up and then Superbad, the film that made him a star. Superbad felt different from other teen comedies. It was awkward, messy, and real. Jonah's performance as Seth, the loud, insecure best friend who covers his pain with bravado, connected with audiences everywhere. Overnight, he went from being a side character to the face of a generation. He followed it up with Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Get Him to the Greek, and Funny People. Studios and audiences started to love him. But if you look closely, all the roles were just variations of the same type. The same insecure, overweight, funny friend. And Jonah knew it too. He once said, "Whatever people see you as when you start out, that's what they'll always see you as." And for him, that meant being locked in forever as the fat, funny guy. So he tried to break free. He turned down a role in Transformers because it felt too familiar, and instead, he took on Cyrus, where he played a darker, more unsettling character. That role opened new doors, and soon after, he landed in Moneyball with Brad Pitt. He played Peter Brand, a quiet but brilliant analyst. His performance was subtle and thoughtful, and it earned him an Oscar nomination. For the first time, critics had to admit he was more than a funny sidekick. He was an actor with real range. But instead of celebrating his growth, the media shifted back to his body. Headlines asked if he was still funny after losing weight. Reporters joked about his appearance. Even at his peak, after being nominated for an Academy Award, he couldn't escape the same old narrative. A few years later, he starred in The Wolf of Wall Street. His role as Donnie Azoff was wild, unhinged, and unforgettable. It earned him a second Oscar nomination. But once again, the press dragged the conversation back to his weight. Imagine standing next to Leonardo DiCaprio in one of the most acclaimed films of the decade, and instead of being asked about your performance, people ask if you're still the fat guy at parties. That was Jonah's reality. By this point, the ridicule was relentless. At the 2012 Oscars, host Billy Crystal made a cupcake joke about Jonah's body in front of the entire industry. Cameras cut to him as he forced a smile. That kind of public jab doesn't just disappear when the show ends, it lingers. Other humiliations followed. In France, while promoting War Dogs, Jonah sat on a talk show where a weather presenter joked about how he was the man you settle for until Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt walk in. The audience laughed, his co-star chuckled. Jonah looked crushed. He responded with sarcasm, but after that night, he canceled the rest of his interviews in France. Later, the host apologized, but the damage was done. Moments like this broke him. Jonah started stepping back from the press. He avoided interviews, avoided junkets, avoided giving people new chances to make him the target. And this wasn't about being shy. It was about survival. Then, in 2017, tragedy struck. Jonah's older brother Jordan died suddenly from a blood clot. Jordan was Jonah's manager, his best friend, and his biggest supporter. Losing him devastated Jonah. It could have destroyed him completely, but instead, it became a turning point. Jonah quit drinking. He focused on his health. He began rebuilding his life, not for Hollywood, but for himself. By 2018, Jonah looked different. He bleached his hair, wore bold streetwear, and carried himself with new confidence. He appeared on best dressed lists, landed a GQ cover, and even collaborated with Adidas. For the first time, people weren't mocking his appearance, they were praising it. More importantly, Jonah finally made the film he had dreamed of creating since he was young. Mid-90s, a raw coming-of-age story, marked his directorial debut. It showed he was more than an actor, he was a storyteller. During this time, Jonah also started speaking openly about his struggles. On talk shows, he admitted that years of body shaming left him with deep insecurities. In one viral Instagram post, he revealed that he never took his shirt off in a pool until his mid-30s because he was too ashamed. In his documentary Stutz, he sat with his mother and explained how her pressure to lose weight, even though it came from love, made him feel not enough. For a while, it seemed like Jonah had finally escaped the box Hollywood had put him in. But in 2023, everything changed again. Private texts between Jonah and his ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady were leaked online. In the messages, Jonah told her not to post bikini photos, not to surf with men, and to cut ties with certain people from her past. Some people said he was setting boundaries, others said he was being controlling and manipulative. The internet exploded with debate. For years, Jonah had been the victim of cruelty. Now, many people were calling him the cruel one. His defenders said he was scarred by years of public humiliation and was trying to protect himself. His critics said he was disguising control as self-care. Either way, the backlash was brutal. Jonah stepped away from the spotlight again. So where does that leave Jonah Hill? Was he the clown Hollywood created? The victim of an industry that taught us to laugh at his pain? Or did the years of ridicule leave scars so deep that they shaped how he treated others? The truth is complicated. Jonah Hill was never just a joke. He was a man who carried years of public humiliation, who proved his talent again and again, and who created meaningful art despite it all. But he is also human, flawed, scarred, and still fighting to escape the shadow of the punchline that was written for him long before he had a chance to write his own. For many years, Jonah Hill was Hollywood's punching bag. But if you look closer, you see he was never really the joke. He was proof of how cruel this industry can be, and how deeply words can scar someone, even when they smile through it.